feeling today. I can't be the only one that's feeling just amazing right now. Unbelievable night, unbelievable day, guys. Happy Tuesday, July 2nd. Donald Trump just got an absolute win with his immunity ruling, and things are, let's just say that they're not okay in the White House. So the Supreme Court recently decided on the former president's immunity case. Experts are already coming out and they're saying that this adds yet another obstacle in front of special counsel Jack Smith. And as you guys may be aware, Jack Smith, he's been trying his best to speed up the process in Donald Trump's January 6th case. He has basically failed. He's literally failed at every turn. And he doesn't seem to have a good outlook for when he's going to be able to take this to trial. In fact, the newest development coming out only makes sure it literally just kind of makes everything worse for him. But this is not the message that we're seeing in mainstream media. The message is kind of confusing. Others are saying that he gets some immunity, while there are those who claim that Donald Trump had absolute immunity in office. Now, guys, we're going to go ahead and straighten all of this out here today, starting with something very, very telling. But before we do that, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for sharing these videos. You guys are flooding in here on the live. What's going on, Jose Lamelli? We got Cassandra Symington, The Awakened in here. We got Cowboy Rob, Keenan Ripon, Fed Up Patriot. Beautiful folks. Jackie Klein, British Gray. I love it. What's going on, Catalia? All right, so let's go ahead and straighten things out here. Let's break it down so it will forever be broken, shall we? All right, so President Joe Biden, his campaign is, let's just say that they're pretty nervous at this point. They're sweating bullets, and I mean, they got up from the seat and you could see their butt print. They're sweating that much, right? And this only adds to their problems, guys. But here's what President Joe Biden had to say after this historic decision was announced right after the Supreme Court let out. Take a listen.
President Biden is just weighing in on the Supreme Court's immunity ruling as he tries to bounce back from that disastrous debate. CBS's Weijia Jiang reports from the White House, where the president spoke a short time ago.
No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. With today's Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity, that fundamentally changed.
Tonight, President Biden delivered a stark warning about the Supreme Court's ruling on presidential immunity.
The American people must decide if they want to entrust the president once again, the presidency, to Donald Trump, now knowing he'll be even more emboldened to do whatever he pleases whenever he wants to do it.
It was his first time making remarks at the White House since the debate. Despite his poor performance, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden downplayed the impact, telling Vogue magazine for its August cover story they will not let those 90 minutes define the 4 years he's been president. We will continue to fight.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but this definitely sounds like a bunch of folks who are losing. They're scared. The jig is up. The lies that they've tried to, see, the thing is like we've been talking about the truth for a long time here on the channel. And a lot of you guys already knew that this, the truth about Joe Biden. But the mainstream media, they were trying to hide this lie. There were all these cover-ups, the fake news. They were blaming different news stations and YouTubers for editing Biden's behavior. They were saying that they were like, deep fakes, and Joe Biden is not the way we see him. And the degenerative Joe Biden that we saw during the CNN debate was uncut. It was live. It was unable to be edited. And the truth was exposed. And now what we are witnessing here, guys, is not only the Supreme Court's decision in Donald Trump's favor, but we're literally witnessing history. We're watching the dismantling of the very scared and panicky Democratic left super Libby party attempting to deal with the current circumstances.
I know I'm not a young man,
The Biden campaign is making the same case with a new ad just released this morning showing the president at a rally the day after the debate.
But I know how to do this job. I know right from wrong.
Considerably sharper and more energetic than when he was on stage with Donald Trump.
If we finally beat Medicare,
A new CBS News poll shows how the debate impacted voters, with 72% saying Biden does not have the mental and cognitive health to serve as president, compared to 65% before the debate. 50% believe Trump does. Among registered Democrats, 54% think Biden should run for president. 46% say he should not. Trump weighed in on a radio show.
And they say getting him out is very hard because he has the delegates, he has the votes. And that if he doesn't want to get out, there's not a thing they can do about it.
Election expert David Becker says the decision is for Biden alone to make.
The primaries were held. The voters have spoken. I expect that we will see a rematch of President Biden against former President Trump.
Tonight, the Biden campaign is circulating a new internal poll. Even though it has Trump leading by 1 point, it also shows support of the president has not changed following the debate.
It's so funny. They keep running new polls, hoping for new results, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. Kerry Schotten, thank you so much for the big 2. I see you out there. Thank you so much for the support on the channel. But did any of you guys catch the debate? I'm pretty sure you guys did. A lot of you guys did, because a lot of critics will say that the last 4 years was way worse than what we saw that night. But here's the important fact here. President Joe Biden, he released a warning right after the Supreme Court ruled on this case. And while there are those who say that, he's just looking out for the American people, many people claim otherwise. It's not probable that Donald Trump is removed from most of the legal cases, although this does actually open the idea of him being free to campaign without much of a worry. And that's the part that really scares the Biden campaign the most. In fact, the fact that Donald Trump, he's going to be free to do whatever he wants. He's going to be free to talk to the American people. This was what they were trying to prevent. This is what they were trying to avoid with the hush money trial. DA Alvin Bragg, Judge Juan Merchan slapping Donald Trump with the gag order, trying to prevent him from being able to speak to the American people, keeping him locked in a freezing courtroom. This was their goal. This was the plan. It's unraveling right now. And so now, getting to the decision from the Supreme Court, it's around 119 pages long. And I know it sounds long, but don't worry, because I got you guys. It's kind of starting off with why this was even raised in the first place. So this is in retaliation to a January 6, 2021 situation. A federal grand jury indicted former President Donald Trump on 4 counts of conduct that happened during his presidency after the November 2020 election. Now, I want you guys to remember this key detail, okay? Remember that key detail, as the timeline is going to affect the Supreme Court's decision a lot. So keep that in mind. January 6, 2021, that's the date, all right? So the idea was that Trump allegedly conspired to overturn results of the elections. Now, the former president said that he had absolute immunity at the time, which means that he could not be criminally prosecuted for actions performed within the outer perimeter of the official responsibilities. And so this was the argument from former President Donald Trump. He's saying that he has some level of immunity being the president of the United States. Any of you guys disagree with that? Because the position would be kind of sort of useless if there wasn't some sort of leeway there. There's got to be some sort of protection. So the reasoning is that he wouldn't be able to function if he feared legal repercussions for actions that he may undertake during his term. Holy cow, Dan Wood hit me with the big 50. Dan Wood says, remember that can of worms you said I opened about my prediction of Michelle Obama the other night? I see it's quite the topic now. Holy cow. Did you not hit it on the head? Oh man, Dan Wood, man, I'm gonna have to see. I'm gonna see if I can dig up that prediction and timestamp it in a future video. If I can, man, if I can find that, that would be pretty sick. But amazing prediction, I gotta say. Appreciate the love, Dan Wood. Appreciate you, brother. But yeah, guys. So the reasoning behind this is Donald Trump. They're fearing the reason behind these protections that the Supreme Court has ultimately confirmed is that a president wouldn't be able to function. They wouldn't be able to do their job, whether it's President Biden, Obama, Clinton, George Bush, Biden, Donald Trump. It doesn't matter who the president is. There needs to be some form of protections as the president. It's kind of like, otherwise you'd have no decisions being made, no actions, no laws being passed, because every president will be fearful that is it the successor or the predecessor? The successor would then take legal action on that president because they would be worried that they're going to get arrested or put, taken to trial for making some decision as a president. So, so let's just take President Joe Biden right now. He's greenlit billions of dollars to go into different wars where thousands of people are dying. So imagine, after Biden's presidency ends, if Donald Trump became president, he could theoretically go after Biden and, maybe have the DOJ hit him with like treason or murder or basically he would have a target on his back. So, I mean, Biden basically told the Ukraine to go ahead and attack inside of Russia. Okay. That's a lot more of a direct, call to action compared to January 6th, right? So there's also the issue of the open border where actual terrorists have entered the country unvetted. Okay. Now, we also cannot forget about the crimes that were committed against Americans here at home and how Biden's policies have affected them. But this ruling from the Supreme Court would protect past and future presidents for official acts that they take upon, during their presidency. Now, I don't really know why Biden is hating on this decision from the Supreme Court because he would be protected too. There's a good chance that at this point, Biden is likely going to be losing this presidential election. So he really needs to be patting the Supreme Court on the back and say, hey, appreciate that, that immunity deal because I done some stuff while I was in office. I'm just saying. Official business, of course. Anyway, so the argument was that if a president did not have immunity, then whoever was stepping down would then be targeted by his or her political enemies as soon as they leave the White House. So getting back to Donald Trump, this ruling suggests that he can possibly claim immunity from criminal prosecution, but only for actions that were within his constitutional powers as president. So this includes the last days of his presidency. This includes all the way up until January 20th, 2021. And so this is why I was saying that this date was so important earlier in this video, because remember, the situation went down that they're going after him for on January 6th, 2021. But what they're looking at is providing presidential immunity until January 20th, 2021. So that will be within those dates. And so basically, this tells us that presidents have immunity for official acts, although not all acts done in office would be considered an official act. So really, at this point, we need to have maybe the lower courts. I don't know if the Supreme Court's going to make this decision. They need to kind of create some definitions saying what is official acts, what is outside the scope of official acts. And this is really going to kind of really draw the line in the sand, so to speak. Quick shout out and thank you to Jacob Bartlett. Appreciate it for the Big 10, my friend. Jacob Bartlett says, Biden can only be replaced in 3 swing states by death or by 25th Amendment. Does look good for the Democrats to replace him now. It's funny because It's funny because I was actually watching this dissection of the 25th Amendment, whether or not the 25th Amendment should be invoked. Should they yank Joe Biden out of his position? He's already proved to America. He's already proved to America that he's incapable of running the country. Many people are saying that this is elder abuse by leaving Joe Biden in there, I'm also hearing rumors that Jill Biden is the one that's really to blame because she doesn't want to let go of the lifestyle. She doesn't want to let go of access to Air Force One and having dinners with celebrities and dignitaries, living in the mansion. So, if Joe Biden no longer is president, then basically she personally would lose all forms of relevancy. So I don't know if it's really Jill Biden that's really kind of forcing Biden to continue to run, even though he's done, he's out of gas, the tank is empty, the suit is empty, or what. But the other thing is that a lot of folks are saying, well, maybe don't invoke the 25th Amendment because Joe Biden is such a weak candidate. Maybe it's better to just leave him in there and let Donald Trump have an easy win. So, I mean, I could see it both ways. If you yank Biden, you're going to put Kamala Harris in there. Her poll numbers don't really look any better than Joe Biden, but I think that she's a little bit mentally sharper than Joe Biden. I can't believe I'm actually saying Kamala Harris and mental sharpness in the same sentence, but word salads and all, I think Kamala Harris would actually be better at debating than Joe Biden, but who knows? I don't really know who would actually be better at this point. But the polls show that whether it's Biden or Kamala Harris, it looks like Donald Trump is still winning in either case. So, but we'll have to see. But again, this just kind of tells us that presidents have immunity for official acts, although not all acts that are done in office will necessarily be considered an official act. The lower courts will ultimately decide the categorization of these particular actions, but it's still a game changer for Trump. So he is definitely celebrating the win. And it's already being hailed as a massive, huge win because it's expected to further delay legal proceedings against the former president. And it's also rejecting a decision from the federal appeals court earlier this year where they found Trump had no immunity for alleged crimes that he committed during his presidency. Chief Justice John G. Roberts Jr., he wrote for the majority that Donald Trump at least has presumptive immunity in his official acts. Now, Jack Smith, on the other hand, he kind of feels as if he could still continue that case based on actions that are not considered as official. Now, although, he kind of would need to narrow his indictment down to Donald Trump, and lower courts could ultimately hear a trial as earlier this year, but, we'll have to see on that. Freedom, appreciate the big five, my friend. Freedom says that the only way Trump couldn't lose is if they cheat again, and I'm damn sure that they're going to be going all out this next time around. Mark my words. Wow. Well, I really wouldn't be too surprised. And given how bad the debate was and how Democrats initially were not even kind of like panicking, I was like, wow, are they planning on cheating? Like, because otherwise, shouldn't Democrats be panicking? And then I think the panic was like more of a delayed onset because after, I would say, maybe 24 hours after the debate and opinions, experts, analysts began to circulate their opinions, public opinion, I think it was pretty clear that this was an epic global failure and an embarrassment of a display during this debate for Joe Biden. I think it's over for him personally. Cowboy Rob, appreciate the big two, my friend. Clarence Thomas didn't jack. Clarence Thomas didn't jack could try anything. What? Dude, you're confusing me. But yeah, guys. So basically, Jack Smith would need to narrow his indictment of Donald Trump and see if he can get the lower courts to try to hear this trial. And if he did, they could possibly hear the trial as early as this year, which now kind of opens up the discussion about time. So there's a lot of work left to sort out what constitutes an official act versus a private one. And that's pretty much where things are going to get real tricky for Jack Smith and his goal. And I'm saying goal because this is what Republicans see with him, that, he has an end goal, and that's to find Donald Trump guilty, period, point blank, which isn't what President Biden is calling for, though, isn't it? It's very clear Biden wanted Donald Trump to be guilty. It wasn't about finding out the truth. It wasn't about justice. It was about making Donald Trump be guilty so he can use the title convicted felon, yada, yada, yada. But clearly that didn't work. Cowboy Rob, appreciate the big five, my friend. Cowboy Rob says Clarence Thomas didn't seem to think Jack could be able to try any cases. Citizen Jack. Appreciate the comment, Cowboy Rob. Oh man. This is a big win for Trump, guys. This is a massive win for Trump. And the wins are adding up here. The wins are adding up. The L's are adding up on Biden's behalf. I don't know have you ever seen a debate performance as poor as Joe Biden's? Have we ever? I don't know how many of you guys watch debates like going all the way back to like 1990s and whatnot, but have you in the last 30 or 40 years, have you ever seen a debate as poor as Joe Biden's performance? I'm just curious to know what you guys might have seen over the years. Deborah Mazika says never. Oh my God. Oh man. But yeah, so Biden says he wants the law to be upheld, so don't get in the way of the Supreme Court's ruling. They made their decision. Biden says that the law is the same for everyone. So the question now is, why does it seem as if this is not the norm when we're talking about Donald Trump? The law is supposed to apply to everyone, but why do new laws seem to be manufactured and applied to Trump? Only since he decided to run for president, right? Anyway, so Representative Jim Jordan, he's now calling on the left to uphold democratic norms. Very similar to how Democrats celebrated Joe Biden for not being charged for willfully holding on to classified documents. So it's him saying that the left should not be hypercritical when it comes to how the law works. He also kind of blasted Smith and said that hyper-partisan prosecutors like him cannot weaponize the rule of law to go after the current administration's chief political rival. He also hopes that the attacks on Donald Trump will stop given the decision from the Supreme Court. Well, we're going to see. We're going to see, because the attacks have been coming out left and right. Freedom, appreciate the big 20 twin. Freedom says Clarence Thomas is one of the best Supreme Court justices ever and godly Christian man. And when he was picked, Biden treated him with no respect. Biden is clearly racist. That's a fact, Ron. Wow. Okay. Appreciate the comment. You have made our entire community, and I don't know if this video gets 1 million views, but you have made the world aware. How many of you guys think that Joe Biden is racist? And take a look at Freedom's comment. How many of you guys think Joe Biden is racist and that he never respected Clarence Thomas of the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas? How many of you guys agree or disagree with that? Let me know in the comments, folks. Joe hopes for insanity pleadables. Cindy Turner says that the Scottish really messed up with their decision on this. Okay, you're entitled to your opinion. Appreciate your comment. Fed Up Patriot says, I've said all along that whatever they perpetuate against Donald Trump, they will get it back tenfold, and they are seeing it. They're starting to see it. They're starting to see it. But yeah, so again, they're hoping that the attacks on Donald Trump are going to stop this decision. They're going to stop given this ultimate decision from the Supreme Court. But speaking of which, there's a lot of people within the Democratic Party that feel as if it's time for President Biden to stop. Now, this kind of opens up the possibility of seeing Vice President Kamala Harris in the White House way before the 2020 presidential election. Again, they could invoke the 25th Amendment, pull Kamala Harris in, yank Mr. Biden out. Who knows? There's still time on the clock. There's some things that they can do. That's all I can say. There's things that they can do. But I do talk about that in a previous video. I'll make sure to put a link down below so you guys can check out that previous video. By the way, if you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video. I thoroughly appreciate the support. The channel really appreciate you. We're growing our community exponentially, and I really do appreciate all of you guys. So again, thank you guys so much. Share this video, spread the news, and I'll see you guys on the next one.